Hello students, Namaste. Welcome to this session of our class. Hope you are doing well. Dear students, today we are going to discuss one of the important concept of the fifth chapter, that is nation building and challenges to Indian democracy. So, we are in the second part of this chapter, that is challenges to Indian democracy. Indian democracy today is facing different types of challenges. You already studied three important challenges of the Indian democracy, that is inequality, illiteracy and communalism. Today we are going to discuss the fourth important challenge to the Indian democracy, that is terrorism. One of the burning problem of the country today. So, terrorism is a global concept. It is global in the sense that this particular problem is not only to India, it also affected other countries of the world, including the developed countries and also the developing and underdeveloped countries. Even the major countries like major developed countries like USA or England, France, etc. also suffered from the terrorist activities. So, India also is the worst victim of terrorism or terrorist activities or subversive activities. That is why in this chapter we have to discuss the impact of terrorism on Indian democracy, the causes for terrorism in India and also the measures taken to prevent terrorism in India. So, first of all we have to know what is terrorism, the meaning of terrorism. Dear students, it may be asked for 2-mark question in the examination. What is the meaning of terrorism? Terrorism, as the name itself gives the meaning to you, terrorism is an intentional use of force, or violence to create fear in the minds of common people by some group of individuals to achieve their political or religious goal. It is a barbaric act. We can say that it is a barbaric act, it is an inhuman act, or it is a faceless act, it is a shameless act by some group of individuals. They use the force, it is an intentional use of force. Terrorism is an intentional use of force or violence. Why? To create fear in the minds of the common people. The main intention of the terrorist is to create fear in the minds of the common people, and thereby they want to fulfill their political or religious goal. Their intention is to feel insecure in the minds of the common people regarding the existing political system. The people should believe that the existing political system is not giving protection to them. So, such kind of fear or violence will be created by the terrorists in order to fulfill their aim or goal. This word terrorism is derived from again it is a 1 mark question. The word terrorism is derived from the Latin word terrare. Latin word terrare. So, this word is derived from the Latin word terrare. The word terrorism or terrorist was first used during the French Revolution in the late 18th century. Afterwards, in 1970s, the terrorism or terrorist activities become popular, particularly in Northern Ireland, the Basque countries, and in Palestine, where the word terrorism or the terrorist activities become popular. After 1980s, the increased suicidal attacks, a new concept was entertained by the terrorists, that is the suicidal attacks. Particularly in Sri Lanka, where LTTE terrorists, they employed suicidal attacks. In the similar manner, the suicidal attacks were employed by the terrorists, which was typified by the terrorists in USA, when the major attack was made by the terrorists on September 11, 2001, which was famously called as the 1911 attack. So, it was in September 11, 2001, a major attack was made in USA by the Al Qaeda terrorists, one of the international terrorist organization called Al Qaeda. United Airlines flight 175, the flight number 175, United Airlines flight was hijacked by the terrorists, Al Qaeda terrorists, and it was hit to the World Trade Center and Washington DC in New York. The 104-storied building, it was a 104-storied building, World Trade Center building was totally collapsed, and several people lost their life. It was a major attack even to USA, one of the developed country of the world. So, it was a suicidal attack. The plane was directly hit to World Trade Center. Similar kind of attack was also made in India in last year. It was a Pulwama attack. Almost all of you heard the news. It was Pulwama attack where the Pakistani sponsored terrorists, Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists, they attacked the bus which was carrying CRPF Jawans in Jammu and Kashmir, in Pulwama in Jammu and Kashmir. So many suicidal attacks were made in afterwards in different parts of the world. That is why these suicidal attacks by the terrorists also intensified the terrorism in the global scenario. So, in the global level, the terrorists or terrorism are popular in certain countries like Lebanon, in Palestine, even in Pakistan, in Syria, in Iran, Libya, where they were sponsored by certain group of individuals. They are supported by even the countries. Today, it is one of the very sad state of affair to say that the terrorism today is considered as a state sponsored terrorism. Some countries even sponsored terrorism, they gave protection to terrorism and they are giving asylum to terrorists, and they consider terrorists as their war heroes. Our own neighboring country Pakistan is also making such kind of state sponsored terrorism, where it directly helps the terrorists, provides training to the terrorists. Terrorist camps are established in Pakistan occupied Kashmir and even in other parts of Pakistan, and continuously they are sending terrorists to India to make subversive activities or terrorist activities. That is why it is one of the sorry state of affair today. India, which is considered as a Bharat Tirtha by Rabindranath Tagore, it is the ocean of humanity, the land of pilgrimage, which provides a cradle to the people of several countries who are uprooted, evacuated by the inhuman people or inhuman actions of the people or the imperialistic nature of the people. They were destroyed, they were disturbed, and we Indians gave asylum to these people. That is why we are the peace-loving country. Today, such a peace-loving country which preached love and peace to the whole world is affected by the terrorism and terrorist activities. That is why today terrorism become one of the major problem in India. It become a cancer to the Indian society. So, students, we have to know some of the important terrorist organizations which are working at the global level and also in India. Some of the important terrorist organizations are Al-Qaeda organization. Another important organization in the international level is ISIS. Full form of ISIS is Islamic State for Iraq and Syria. Islamic State for Iraq and Syria, which was formed by al-Baghdadi. He was killed by American forces recently. Still, it is one of the major terrorist organization in India, in the world, and it also had its seeds in India also. It is slowly getting its popularity even in India. So, ISIS organization, Islamic State for Iraq and Syria, and apart from these two major organizations, there are other terrorist organizations like Jaish-e-Mohammed, Jaish-e-Mohammed, JEM, Jaish-e-Mohammed, JEM, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Toiba, LET, popularly known as LET, Lashkar-e-Toiba. These are the international organizations, and these organizations also have its impact in India. Apart from this, there is another organization called Indian Mujahideen, which is very popular in India, Indian Mujahideen. Then Naxalites or People's War Group, PWG, People's War Group, the Naxalites. Then LTTE, one of the major terrorist organization, it was in Sri Lanka. Now, Sri Lankan government was successful in eradicating LTTE, and this LTTE organization was responsible for the assassination of our former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi through a suicidal attack in Tamil Nadu at Sri Perumbudur. He was killed, he was assassinated by the LTTE terrorists. So, these are the major terrorist organizations like that is Al-Qaeda, ISIS or LET, Lashkar-e-Toiba or Jaish-e-Mohammed, Indian Mujahideen, then Naxalites, the People's War Group, even LTTE, all these are the important terrorist organizations, and almost all these organizations have its existence in India also. So, now we have to know some of the important definitions regarding regarding terrorism. One important definition regarding terrorism is the definition given by US State Department, United States State Department. According to US State Department, terrorism may be defined as pre-planned, well-organized act of intimidation, and illegal violence by the trained group of individuals, to realize a desired goal, So, once again I will repeat, terrorism may be defined as by the US State Department, it is defined as a pre-planned, well-organized act of intimidation and illegal violence by the trained group of individuals to realize a desired goal. Again, one more definition which was given by Paul Wilkinson, he said, terrorism is a special form of political violence. So, totally we can say that terrorism is a violent act by some group of individuals who wanted to create fear in the minds of the common people, and they will attack the common people or the neutral military servants, and it is a shameless, heartless, soulless activity by some group of people in order to fulfill their sectional group interest or their own religious interest or political interest. Definitely, it is against to the human society. It is a danger to the peaceful atmosphere of the human society. The important causes for terrorism in India. Students, please note, a 5-mark question may be asked in the examination regarding the causes of terrorism. What are the important causes of terrorism? Explain. So, when such kind of question is asked in the examination, we have to assess the major causes for the rise of terrorism in India. So, first important cause for the rise of terrorism in India is the separatist movement. Since the partition of the country in India, several organizations are indulging in the anti-national or separatist activities in order to fulfill their own group interest. In certain parts of the country, they are involving in a separatist movements. For example, in Jammu and Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, which is popularly called as JKLF, full form is Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, So, this organization was established and continuously this organization involved in a separatist movement. They demanded for a separate Kashmir state for the Kashmiris. Jammu Kashmir should be an independent state. It was their demand. In the similar manner, in Punjab, there was a Khalistan movement. Khalistan movement in Punjab. It was in 1980s, this Khalistan movement became popular in Punjab. They demanded a separate Khalistan state for the Sikhs. Under the leadership of Jarnail Bhindranwale, this particular organization was very strong in Punjab until it was Srimati Indira Gandhi, the former Prime Minister of India, who took a radical step of military action against this terrorist organization, Khalistan movement. So afterwards, this particular movement lost its importance, and Punjab now freed from the Khalistanis. Anyhow, it was one of the separatist movement in India in 1980s under the leadership of Bhindranwale, who demanded for a separate Punjab state for the Sikhs. In the similar manner, we have other organizations like Indian Mujahideen, already mentioned the name, or Hurriyat Conference, again one more organization, Hurriyat Conference in Jammu and Kashmir. These organizations are also involving in anti-national activities or separatist activities, and their demand was mainly a sectional demand, their own group interest, and they are against to the interest of the Indian society. The second reason for the development of terrorism is religious fundamentalism. Religious fundamentalism. Some of the religious fundamentalist groups in almost all the communities like Hindu, Sikhs, Muslims, Christians, etc., formed their own separate fundamentalist organizations. It is one of the important concepts, fundamentalist organizations. In the sense that all the religions are preaching peace, equality, cooperation and universal brotherhood. But some section of these religious communities, not all, some section of these religious communities, they formed a separate fundamentalist organizations, and they involved in religious fundamentalism. Today, terrorism has different phases. It is a global terrorism or domestic terrorism or cyber terrorism, economic terrorism, cultural terrorism. In the similar manner, there is a religious terrorism. So those people who lack the broader vision, broader viewpoint, they involved in the religious fundamentalism. And all the religions, almost all the religions have such kind of fundamentalist groups, and they are involved in religious fundamentalism, which directly creates religious terrorism in India today. So second important cause for the terrorism is a religious fundamentalism. Then third important problem, cause for the terrorism is the ethnic problems. Ethnic problems in Northeast. Ethnic problems in Northeast. Northeastern states, you may have the idea, a bunch of states. India's northeastern states are a bunch of states, small states, which was created mainly to solve the ethnic and identity problems. Assam, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Sikkim, Nagaland, Manipur, all these states are bunch of states, small states. They were created mainly to solve the problem of identity or ethnicity. In these states, northeastern states, there were several ethnic communities, and almost all these ethnic communities are involving in civil war or civil struggle for their existence. In this regard, small states were created in order to solve this problem. So, these ethnic problems are major problems in Mizoram. There is an organization in Mizoram called Mizo National Front, MNF, Mizo National Front, one of the important organization in Mizoram, which represents the Mizo national interest. Another important organization in Assam, which is called as ULFA, ULFA, United Liberation Front of Assam. The full form of ULFA is United Liberation Front of Assam. Then in Nagaland, another important organization is there, Nagaland National Socialist Council of Nagaland, NSCN, National Socialist Council of Nagaland. These are the important organizations which were formed to protect their ethnical interest or identity. But these organizations are involving in violent clashes, violent struggle. Some of these organizations are also making anti-national activities, and so it become a terrorist organization today. It become a major problem to the unity and integrity of the country. That is why ethnic problems in northeastern states is also one of the major cause for the rise of terrorism in India. Then the fourth problem is weak political system. Weak political system. Today, because of the coalition government in India, stability to the government is not possible. The coalition partners, they have different ideologies. So, ideological difference between the coalition partners makes it prevents the government to take a firm decision or strong decision against the terrorist activities or against the terrorist organizations. Among the coalition partners, unanimity is not possible. The ideological differences prevented them to take a strong action against the terrorist organizations. That is why terrorists today are becoming stronger. So, coalition government, which means the weak political system or instability at in the political level, also makes one of the important cause for the rise of terrorism in India. Then another important cause for the rise of terrorism is economic deprivation. Economic deprivation. The uneven economic development. And the exploitation of the poor by the rich people created a society called haves and the have-nots. Today in Indian society, the economic resources are not equally distributed. There is a hierarchy in the society, upper class and lower class society, and one class, the upper class or the rich class of the society, are making exploitation over the poor class of the society, and this created a gap between the haves and have-nots. Major section of the Indian society were denied almost all the opportunities of the society. Because of that reason, today some section of the society are involved in the terrorist activities. It is well said that terrorism is an ideal ground, it is a fertile ground where particularly in those section of the people who have considered as poor, who are considered as illiterate, ignorant and unemployed youths, they are easily brainwashed. They are easily brainwashed by the terrorist organizations. That's why they will join the terrorist organizations. That's why the economic deprivation in the society, that is particularly the exploitation of one section over other section of the society, mainly led to the birth of a terrorist. So, one of the important reason why a terrorist was born in the Indian society, the reason is clear. It was the society, the social impact mainly led to the birth of a terrorist. As already mentioned, the poverty, the unemployment, the illiteracy, the ignorance, economic inequality, these are considered as the fertile ground for the birth of a terrorist. They can be easily brainwashed by the terrorist organizations. So, these are the 5 important reasons for terrorism in India. So, if a 5-mark question is there regarding the terrorism, regarding the cause of terrorism, you have to mention all these 5 points with the explanation. So, this is about the causes of the terrorism in India. The second aspect is how terrorism is a combination or hurdle, combination, or it is also considered as a hurdle, or it is also considered as a threat to democracy, So, how terrorism is a hurdle to democracy or combination to democracy or a threat to democracy? We have to assess some of the important points to show that how terrorism become a hurdle to democracy. First important point here we have to discuss is disruption of governance. Disruption of governance. Democracy is based on non-violence. It preaches the liberty, equality, fraternity, whereas terrorism is based on violence. They involved in violent activities or subversive activities, and they targeted the government officials, the army men, the military, the police, or even the other paramilitary forces. And these activities, violent activities by the terrorists may create insecurity among the minds of the people and also questions the legitimacy of the very existence of the elected government. So, that is why today the terrorists, they are targeting the governance. They want to uproot the existing government, their officials, and even the military persons, and thereby wanted to create insecurity in the minds of the people and also to question the legitimacy of the existing political system. So, disruption of governance in democracy, the always disrupt the governance. Then the second one is disrespect to the constitution. Disrespect to the constitution. The constitution is considered as a fundamental law of the land. It is a sacred law of the land. But for the terrorists, there is no constitution. They are not following the constitutional principles. They are against to the constitution. Sometimes even the constitutional governments which are formed by the people also compelled to make a compromise with the terrorist organizations in order to fulfill their demands. The terrorists are forcing the constitutional government to fulfill their demands by their terrorist activities. how they are making how they are forcing the government to fulfill their demands. One example I can give here, in 1999, in December 1999, Indian Airlines plane was hijacked, which was traveling from Kathmandu to Delhi. In between, it was hijacked by the terrorists, and the terrorists landed this Indian Airlines flight in Kandahar in Afghanistan. It was boarded with nearly 160 passengers. At that time, Afghanistan was under the control of Taliban terrorist group. Talibans were ruling Afghanistan at that time. It was a terrorist organization. So, this Indian Airlines plane was kept at Kandahar, and they started to threaten the Indian government. In order to release this Indian Airlines plane, they demanded for the release of all the terrorists who were arrested in India, who are in Indian jail. Ultimately, Indian government make a compromise with the terrorist organization, and finally a compromise was reached to release four important terrorists against the release of Indian Airlines plane. So, at that time we released four important terrorists, and one among them was Masood Azhar, who later formed Jaish-e-Mohammed organization in Pakistan. Even today, Masood Azhar is working against the interest of India. He is training terrorists under Jaish-e-Mohammed organization and making sabotage activities in Jammu and Kashmir. So, why I am giving this example is even sometimes the constitutional government also compelled to make a compromise with the terrorist organizations. So, in order to protect our citizens, in order to make the safety of our citizens, we have to make a compromise. So, that is why they have a disrespect to the constitution. They do not have any belief regarding the constitution of the country. Their activity is always against the interest of the constitution. Then the third one is the violation of human rights. Violation of human rights. Today, the terrorist does not have any respect to the rule of law. As we know, the rule of law is one where the law is applicable to all the people, irrespective of caste or class or sex or religion or place of birth, etc. But for the terrorist, there is no rule of law. They will kill innocent people. They are targeting the innocent people. They are creating violence in the society, and they are directly violating the human rights. Their target is the civilians. Their target is a neutral military persons. They are targeting the public places, the bus stands, the railway stations, the temples, the places of worship, even the airports, even the tourist places or marketplaces. Serious bomb blasts are made and it will kill innocent people. You have the idea. It was in 2008, in September, 26/9 September 2008, 6 terrorists from Pakistan came to India through sea route, entered India and spread in various parts of Bombay and killed innocent people. They attacked Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminal. They attacked Taj Hotel, Nariman Point, hospital, and they killed nearly 100 people and injured more than 300 people. Ultimately, a commando action was taken. One of the brave commando from our own state, Unni Krishnan, was martyred in this terrorist operation. And our commandos and police force were successful in killing 5 terrorists and captured 1 terrorist. It was Kasab who was hanged later, who was given death penalty by the court. So, it was Kasab who was hanged. So, this shows that these terrorists directly targeted the common people, the civilians who do not know about this. What is the intention? Their intention was to disrupt the society, disrupt the democratic system, and also to create fear in the minds of the people, and thereby the people can question the legitimacy of the democratic system. That is why violation of human rights can be possible by the terrorists, which directly affects the democratic system of the country. Then another important cause for the another important reason how terrorism is a combination to democracy is anti-democratic activities. Anti-democratic activities. The terrorist does not have any respect to the democracy and democratic process. They are always against to democracy. Always they target the democratic institutions. They want to disrupt the polling process. They will target the polling officers. They will kidnap the political leaders. They will kill the voters, and also gives they also threatening the voters when they are casting the votes. That is why today in the terrorist hit areas, the voting turnout is very less, even though people are interested to cast their vote, but the terrorists will not allow the people to cast vote. What is going on in Jammu and Kashmir? What is going on in Naxalite areas where voting turnout is very poor? In Jammu and Kashmir, periodical elections are taken in various stages. Because of terrorist activities, even the periodical elections are also affected. In Naxal areas, the Naxalites are threatening the people. They even cut the fingers of the voters who casted their vote. So, this shows that they are against the democratic system of the country. They are destabilizing the democratic process and democratic activities. Then the fifth one is obstacle to economic growth. Obstacle to economic growth. Obstacle to economic growth. Today, because of terrorism or a terrorist problem, huge amount of money has been spent for the modernization of arms and ammunitions, modernization of military, modernization of our police force. Today, the budget at the nation level, we can see a lion's share is reserved only for the defense purpose, only for the security. Because of that reason, the social welfare sector is almost neglected. It is very essential to protect ourselves. There is a need to protect ourselves from the enemy country and also from these terrorist groups. So, in order to protect ourselves, in order to make our country strong, modernization is necessary in the army. Modernization in the army is necessary. We have to purchase sophisticated weapons for our military. we have to modernize our police force, but in return these expenses, huge expenses which are made for the defense purposes directly affects the social welfare sector. The progress of the country will be affected. So, development in the society will be halted. That is why the terrorism become a hurdle for the progress of the country, progress of the nation. So, these things you have to assess regarding the question. If it is asked, terrorism is a combination to democracy, discuss. You have to mention 5 important causes how terrorism is a combination to democracy. 5 marks question may be asked in the examination and you have to answer 5 points regarding the terrorism as a hurdle to democracy. Third part, that is legislative measures. Legislative measures to control terrorism. Legislative measures to control terrorism. The government of India had taken several measures to control terrorism in India. In order to punish the terrorist and to minimize terrorist activities, it is necessary to have a strong legislation or law. One thing we must remember, terrorism was not a major problem immediately after independence. It was only after 1970s or 1980s it became a major problem in India. So, anyhow, here we have to discuss what are the important legislations made in India to control terrorist activities. In this regard, the first law was made in 1950 itself, Preventive Detention Act. In 1950, Preventive Detention Act has been made. It is still in practice. Preventive Detention Act has been made. It was the first law made mainly to prevent anti-social activities in India. The intention of this act was to prevent anti-social activities in India. It was a Preventive Detention Act. And the second act which we can discuss is the 1971 Act. It was Maintenance of Internal Security Act. It is called MISA Act, M-I-S-A, MISA. MISA Act, Maintenance of Internal Security Act. It was made in 1971 and this act was extensively used, not against the terrorists, it was extensively used during the time of national emergency which was declared in June 25th, 1975. One of the important event taken in Indian democracy. It was in 1975, national emergency was declared by then government, and at that time this MISA Act was extensively used against the opposition leaders, those who involved in those activities which are against to the society, or we can say that internal disturbances. Those who caused internal disturbances, they are punished under, they are arrested under the MISA Act, that is the Maintenance of Internal Security Act. Then third important act was made in 1980, that is National Security Act, NSA. Still it is in practice. National Security Act has been made in 1980, which is still in practice. And another most important act was made, it was in 1987. Now, the acts which are made after 1980 almost targeted the terrorist activities. So, it was in 1987 important act was made, it was terrorist and disruptive activities Prevention Act, Terrorist and Disruptive Activities Prevention Act, that is famously called as TADA, TADA, TADA Act, Terrorist and Disruptive Activities Prevention Act, which was famously called as TADA Act. In 1987, after a serial bomb blast was made by the terrorists in Bombay or Mumbai. In order to punish the victims, particularly the culprits of a serial bomb blast in Mumbai, this TADA Act was made in 1987. And one more thing I want to remember you, one of the film actors Sanjay Dutt was also punished under the TADA Act. He was imprisoned for 7 years of jail punishment under the TADA Act. So, it was in 1987. And in 2001, one more act was made, it was Prevention of Terrorism, Prevention of Terrorism Act, which was famously called as POTA Act. Prevention of Terrorism Act was made in 2001. It was mainly after the parliament attack. In December 2001, Indian Parliament, the temple of democracy, what we consider temple of democracy, was attacked by the terrorists. So, afterwards the Parliament of India decided to make a strong law, and in that case a POTA Act was made, Prevention of Terrorism Act was made. The lifetime of POTA was only 4 years, and so in 2004 the POTA Act should be renewed, but it was not made. So, because of that reason POTA Act lost its importance in 2004. And again we have to know one more act, that is a present act, powerful act, which is made by the Indian Parliament. It was in 2008. It was in 2008. One more act was made which is at present, that is unlawful activities Prevention Act. It is an amendment, Prevention Act. So, UAPA. It was a Parliamentary Amendment Act. Unlawful Activities Prevention Act was made in 2008, and this act was made after the Bombay attack, Mumbai attack by the Pakistani based terrorists, as already mentioned, gave the example. So, after Mumbai attack, the Parliament of India made a powerful act to combat terrorism, and it was Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, which is popularly called as UAPA. And you have to discuss the various clauses of the UAPA Act. You have to discuss the clauses or provisions of the UAPA Act. The first important provision of the UAPA Act is under section 15 of the UAPA Act. Under section 15 of the UAPA Act, it clearly defined the concept terrorist act as any act which threatens the unity, integrity and sovereignty of the country. Any act which threatens the unity, integrity and sovereignty of India, or with intent to strike terror in the people, which intend to strike terror in the people or any section of the people in India or in any foreign country or in any foreign country is considered as a terrorist act. Then the second provision of this act is those persons who are aiding, those persons who have the intention of aiding, abetting or committing terrorist act, aiding, abetting or committing terrorist act, those persons who have the intention of aiding, abetting or committing terrorist act shall be punished, terrorist act shall be punished with imprisonment for 10 years and fine, with imprisonment for 10 years or fine. Then the third provision of this act is punishment for raising funds, punishment for raising funds, punishment for raising funds for terrorist activities. Raising funds for terrorist activities is 5 years. Punishment for raising funds for terrorist activities is 5 years, which may be extended, to life imprisonment and fine, which may be extended to life imprisonment and fine. Then fourth one is punishment for recruitment of persons, punishment for recruitment of persons for terrorist organizations, persons for the terrorist organizations and their training, terrorist organizations and for their training, terrorist organizations and also for their training is 5 years, is 5 years, and again which may be extended to life imprisonment and fine, which may be extended to life imprisonment and fine. Then fifth provision is the court may extend the detention of a suspected terrorist, for 180 days, for 180 days if 90 days is not sufficient, is 90 days is not sufficient for inquiry, sufficient for inquiry. So the court may extend the detention of a suspected terrorist for 180 days only when 90 days is not sufficient for the inquiry, So this is the fifth one under the UAPA Act. Then the sixth provision of the UAPA Act is no bail is granted to an accused person. No bail is granted to an accused person who is arrested in sufficient grounds. No bail to an accused person who is arrested on sufficient grounds. No bail can be granted to any accused person who is arrested in sufficient grounds, and further no bail for a foreigner who illegally entered the country without any written permission. So any foreigner who illegally entered the country without any written permission is also cannot be granted bail. Then the seventh one is the government has the power to freeze. Government has the power to freeze or seize or attach, freeze or attach the funds or financial assets, or economic resources, of the terrorist groups. So, government has the power to freeze or seize or attach the financial assets or economic resources of the terrorist groups. Today, under the UAPA Act, National Investigation Agency (NIA), an independent agency has been formed by the central government. National Investigation Agency (NIA) has been formed. Under the National Investigation Agency, all the terrorist activities or any crimes made by the terrorist groups are enquired. They conduct enquiry in any part of the country. It may be occurred in any part of the country where the NIA has the authority to control and also conduct enquiry over the terrorist activities. So, this is the legislative measure taken by the government of India in order to control terrorism. Then last aspect of this concept, socio-economic measures. It is no doubt that a terrorist is the product of the society. The societal reactions mainly led to the birth of a terrorist in India. It is not only the legislative measures which can control the terrorist activities, it is also the socio-economic development measures which is very essential to control the birth of a terrorist in India. It is necessary to prevent the birth of a terrorist, and in order to make this, certain socio-economic measures should be taken by the government in order to prevent terrorism. The first socio-economic measure which the government can take is, or which the society also can take, is the social acceptance. In one or the other reason, a individual can become a terrorist. Because of the social evil, he can become a terrorist. But after some day, he may understand the real picture of the terrorism, he may repent and wants to come back to the mainstream of the society. At that time, we should generously accept that particular person. When he is ready to join the mainstream of the society, we should make a broader viewpoint to accept such kind of people. That means they already have a wound in their mind. A healing touch should be given by the people in order to embrace a particular person who wants to come back to the mainstream of the society. That is why social acceptance is very necessary. We should try to forget his past. And we should make him to live a future life, a better life in the future days. That is why social acceptance is very necessary in order to prevent the birth of a terrorist. The second one is education. Education. Today, education on national spirit and ethical values is very necessary. The lack of education regarding the national spirit and ethical values mainly led to the birth of a terrorist. So, in this regard, education, which is considered as the light of the society, it is schools which are creating the destiny of the country, and so we should provide a education which can make a future citizen. The ethical values, the national spirit should be there in the education. As Swami Vivekananda said, education not only gives wings to flight, not only gives food for thought, but also wings to flight. And so, we have to give education, we have to educate the people, where illiterate people are the ideal ground for the terrorist, and so we should prevent an individual to become a terrorist by giving a proper education. Then third one is the employment. Employment. Yes, it is clear that government cannot give employment opportunities to all the people, but the government can provide opportunities by self-employment. Self-employment can be provided. The nation should provide employment opportunities in order to avoid anti-democratic and anti-national activities in the society. Then fourth one, financial assistance. Financial assistance. Financial assistance. The people should be provided financial assistance through banks or non-financial institutions in order to establish their own their own employment opportunities or their own employment or any kind of businesses. Thereby they can prevent to become a terrorist. When the people have the employment opportunities, the terrorists cannot easily make them to become a member of terrorist organization. Then the fifth one is economic equality. Economic equality. It is necessary to formulate policies by the government to eradicate economic inequalities. The difference between the poor and the rich should be minimized. Extreme poverty and exploitation can become an ideal ground for the terrorist organizations. That is why it is necessary to maintain economic equality in the society, and thereby we can prevent the individual to become a terrorist. Then rehabilitation. Rehabilitation. While making development or economic progress, lot of people will lose their lands. So proper action should be taken by the government to provide rehabilitation facilities to the uprooted people or evacuated people. Then we can maintain or we can provide a proper residence or rehabilitation to the people, and thereby we can prevent them to become a terrorist. And removal of regional disparity. Seventh one, removal of regional disparity. Removal of regional disparity. All the places, all the regions in India are not equally developed. So there are some areas where underdeveloped, and in that area people become terrorist because of the underdevelopment. The Naxalites problem in India, the People's War Group in India, these problems are in those areas where the region is not properly developed. That is why the government should make a proper measures for the equal distribution of resources, and thereby the regions also can equally developed, and it can prevent the birth of a terrorist in India. So these things you have to remember, where the socio-economic measures. Again, a 5-mark question may be asked in the examination regarding the socio-economic measures. What are the socio-economic measures which can prevent terrorism? So students, terrorism is a major problem in India. No nation can prosper unless we put an end to terrorism. Today, we the youth should join our hands together to fight against terrorism. Effective use of communications can be possible to spread love and prosperity, love and peace in the society. We should create a healthy society which is based on universal brotherhood. India is a country where we can see a cultural diversity, where all kinds of people belongs to different culture, different religion are there in India. We should bring all the people together. We should develop a feeling of self-respect. We should develop a feeling of common brotherhood among themselves, among ourselves. It is necessary to develop a feeling that the country is the first, and we should make a selfless service for the country, and we should not be a selfish, and a selfless service for the sake of the nation is necessary. We the students, we the future citizens of the country should think about this and should create a healthy India, a developed India, a universally developed India. India should be a united India in the future days. So, terrorism should be rooted out from the Indian society. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.